Hi, this is Matt Dwyer of Dwyer Engineering, talking about doing electronic drawing review using a free package from AutoCAD called Autodesk Design Review 2010. Most people who do architectural and engineering drawings of buildings use AutoCAD or AutoCAD LT. If you want to redline the drawings, most people print out the drawings. This is pretty wasteful, not just wasteful of paper, but if you want to send it to somebody, you've got to print out these heavy drawings, put them in a tube, FedEx them, and hope it doesn't snow too much. Instead, you can print what's called a drawing review file, a DWF file, out of AutoCAD and email it to somebody. If you email them the file, what they get looks something like this when you pull it up in Autodesk Design Review. You can adjust layers. For instance, I'll turn cold water on and off. You can see it flash on and off. You can draw lines, which by clicking on the line tool here. You can add text, or what I really like is rectangular callouts with a cloud. And this is pretty much the way you do red lines in real life. You circle something and you say, this pipe size needs to be 3/4 inch. Once you've made a red line, it shows up here under the markups tab, so that if someone zoomed out, obviously it can't read the red line now, but if I click on this little red line under markups, it zooms right into it. Pretty cool. You can also draw freehand, so you can say something like, draw something like that, which is if you don't like the weight, how heavy that line is, you can click on it and change the weight up here. I can make it be more visible, or I can change the color. If I don't like that color, I can do it in yellow. In addition, I can edit text. If I zoom in on this note down here, and let's say I want this to say electrical room and not mechanical, I can click on this text icon here, text box, and type the word electrical. And no big deal if I don't type it in the right spot. I can just move it into place, or if I've got more to say, it will word wrap. And again, every time I make a red line, it shows up over here under markups. So I can also do takeoffs. I'll start with simple length, and I'll check the dimension of this outside wall. It will snap to nearby points. And it's 24 feet 6 inches. I can check an area. So for instance, I can check the area of this freezer. And if I'm having trouble snapping, if I make a mistake in my snap, I can click on the edit tool and drag that point. There we go, 37 square feet. In addition, I can measure polylines. If I click on this polyline tool, I can measure how many feet of 2-inch pipe I have from the entrance, at least approximately. Obviously, plumbers don't install it exactly the way we draw it, since real life is usually a little bit different. So it looks like the 2-inch pipe comes back this way and then goes all the way to this reducer, all the way to here. So I'll press escape when I'm done, and it pops 83 feet on the 83 feet 2 inches in sort of the center of that line. Thankfully you can zoom in, and even if you can't zoom in, here it is over here, dimension 83 feet 2 inches. So I can make some red lines, I can do some takeoffs, I can print it if I need to print it, but often what I'll do is make some red lines, save the file, and email it back to a designer, drafter, engineer, architect. And then as they make corrections in CAD, in AutoCAD, they can have this file open and click on each item that has to change. And as they change it in CAD, they can go down here under Status and click that it's done, and it'll highlight it and put a check mark. So this provides a record of what changes they've made and helps them make sure they don't forget anything. I don't do any more paper red lines in my practice. I do all electronic red lines. This gives me a record, so later I say, hey, didn't I tell you that pipe needs to be 3/4 inch? I can pull this file up and we can see what my prior red line was. If there's a link in the CAD file, like to a cut sheet, that link will be saved in this DWF. So for instance here, if I press Control and click, it'll pull up in Internet Explorer or whatever your browser is, the actual cut sheet. So that's similar to AutoCAD, has that same feature, and that's pulled over into Autodesk Design Review. You can download Autodesk Design Review at, if you go to autodesk.com, there's a link right here, Autodesk Design Review, view, print, measure, markup, free. Highly recommended. One last feature that is kind of a surprise, a new feature in Autodesk 2010, and that feature is the ability to edit markup PDF files. So I can pull in an Acrobat file, which is a much more common file in DWF, inferior but common, and I can click on measure and set the scale. I've got to know the scale because PDF files don't have this embedded knowledge, but I can set it to feet and inches, and this is a civil drawing at 1 inch equals 70 feet. Once I've got that set correctly, and again, DWF files have that set automatically, but PDF files, once I set that, now I can take measurements. So for instance, I can check the length of this building. And it's 260 feet 9 inches. Or again, I can do an area. I'm just going to do this roughly right now. 49,000 square feet. You might want to call that 50,000. Again, I can use the same markup tools that I used in the DWF file. So I can use rectangle callout with rectangle cloud, arguably my favorite. And I can circle something and say Fios, not Comcast. And I can position that a little better so it's easier to read. And I can actually change the size if I don't like the size. And it's here it is over here. Once I've got all these done, I can save it as a DWF format. If you save it as DWF format, then someone can pull up the markup tab and everything. But if for some reason you're married to PDF files, you can print it to a PDF. So you can go over here and click print and print to a PDF. Now, if you don't have a full version of Acrobat and you want to print to a PDF file, you need to get a third-party package to do that with. So I'm going to recommend you can use Qt PDF at qtpdf.com. It's completely free and it'll let you print to PDF files. So that's an introduction to Autodesk Design Review for red lines and takeoffs. If you're an architect, owner, or contractor on one of our projects, you can obtain password-protected online access to DWF files on our website at www.dwyer.com. This is Matt Dwyer of Dwyer Engineering saying thank you for listening.